Hello and welcome to Happy Horror Time. My name is Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch. Joining us today to discuss the two Haunted Mansion films is a close friend of the podcast. She's a Daytime Emmy winner and put her soul into 2003's The Haunted Mansion, playing the sweet yet ghostly maid, Emma. And just like me, she's from Ohio, so we love to talk OSU football. Just kidding. But growing up, I did get to watch her in high school plays and as a cheerleader on Football Friday nights. I truly wanted to be her. She also appeared in movies like Just Like Heaven, The First Wives Club, Suburbia, and Freaky Friday. And she was even a season regular on Greg the Bunny and Men Behaving Badly. Please welcome to the podcast, Dina Spybey-Waters.
Oh, what an introduction. Thank you.
Hi, Dina. How are you today?
I'm good.
We're so excited to have you on. And, we want to take it back and ask you a little bit about your background. Now, I heard you mention that in high school, you were in drama club, you were a cheerleader, you did gymnastics, and you played softball and volleyball. So I have to know, how the heck did you juggle all that and school?
Well, back then there was no internet. There was no, devices. You had to entertain yourself. And so I was always in sports and, active like that, and also in dance classes and everything. But yeah, that's just what kids did back then. You were in a lot of different activities.
I mean, I thought I was very active in high school, but I didn't have that resume.
No. And I tried to. I tried to get my picture in the yearbook as many times as possible because there was no, I couldn't post a thirst trap picture.
This is where Tim tells us he was voted. He's mentioned this a million times. Dina, what was it? Best dressed?
But Dina was too.
I was too.
Okay. You're not the first person we interviewed that said that. Who was the other person? Someone else said. I was like, well, I'm missing out. I was not voted anything, Dina. I was most likely to have a horror podcast. No. But in all seriousness, how and when did you first realize you wanted to pursue acting?
Yeah, well, I was a child performer with dance, and we did a lot of kind of festivals and state fairs, and we performed the Ohio State Fair. And then at a certain point early in high school, I auditioned for a play, and I got, one of the leads, and won an award for the drama award and whatever. And then I think Tim first saw me in a musical, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Yes, she had a wig on and a pink boa.
I've seen that musical. Yes. I mean, not your version, but yes. Wow.
She did fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Yeah. Many years ago, I played Hetty LaRue. But I just, had fun with it and continued studying. I did get a scholarship to study acting at Ohio State University. So I went and continued and got a BFA in acting there. And then from there, I just wanted to continue studying. I didn't know if it would, lead me anywhere, but I just really liked it. When you have a passion for something, you just keep doing it. And then I ended up getting an MFA in acting at Rutgers University and studied with a guy named William Esper and Maggie Flanagan. And from then, my career started for real professionally. We did a showcase in New York off Broadway, and it was a lot of agents and managers and casting. And so I got signed by a big agency and got called back in by a bunch of casting, and immediately got my equity card, which is professional actors for stage, the union in, what was the play? It was the Heidi Chronicles, which I did in Sarasota, in the Oslo Theater in Sarasota. And that's how I got my equity card. And then right after that, my very first thing was I got cast in the lead of the Becky Bell story, which... Yeah.
And we're going to ask you about that because there's a big thing with that, considering the award that you won for that. But I do have to ask, since our lovely co-host Tim Murdoch has known you for quite a while, how did you first meet Tim and the Murdoch family?
That's a good question. Tim's dad, Mr. Murdoch, who I still call Mr. Murdoch, was my science teacher in high school. And he brought Tim and his brother Jamie to the musical that I was in, How to Succeed in Business. And one day, Mr. Murdoch was just like, "Hey, Dina, can you come over to the house? The boys want to meet you." And I was like, "Okay." And then I went and I was like, "Am I here to babysit you guys? I don't know what I'm doing here." And Tim said, "Can you teach us that routine from the show of like coffee break?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." So I taught him the choreography, him and Jamie.
Yes, Jamie and I love, there's this big number in the show. They're like, "No coffee." So they have to sing about it. And Dean was so funny. And then my dad was a football coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm asking Dina, what's my dad?
Yeah.
But
Well,
Dina
he was also, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
He was also both of my brothers' baseball coach.
What?
Yeah.
Mr. Murdoch.
He was a man of many traits on the coaching field. And
Yes.
and Dina was a cheerleader. And I remember on football, I wouldn't watch the game. I couldn't tell you who won, but I was watching Dina.
I love that you were a showman even then, Tim. You're like, teach me the routine. You're like,
Well, Jamie, my brother was right there with me. I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool, though.
Growing up, Dina, obviously I know a little bit about you, but growing up, were horror films on your radar? Did any have a major impact on you?
No, but the first one I remember seeing, and I don't know if you guys would consider it horror, but I remember going to Amityville, the Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's considered horror. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has the word horror in the title. Yeah.
Well, I do remember screaming so much that I got kicked out of the theater. So that's my intro to horror. I was so freaked out. I'm not a horror fan like you guys, so I'm sorry. I don't really have much of a background in it.
But I've never asked Dina this, but I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. I know that you watched Friday 13th Part 2 with Mark when he watched it. And I know that you took Alex to see Halloween Kills. So between Michael Myers and Jason, do you like Friday 13th or Halloween better?
Oh, God. This is a big answer for you, Dina.
Oh, is it?
We both have our favorites. So whatever you say is going to dictate the rest of the interview.
God.
Proceed.
All right. I got to say, I am a Halloween fan.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, gosh. I feel like
okay.
But I do because I like the cameos of like people on housewife shows.
Kyle Richards. Yes.
Kyle Richards.
Understand.
I mean,
You know.
Kyle Richards is, the little girl in the original Halloween. Like the fact that they brought her back 40 years later, 43 years later was amazing. And you loved that too.
Of course. I'm just saying I'm more partial to Friday 13th than Halloween, but I do love Halloween, of course.
Yes. And Jamie Lee, who I worked with before.
Yes.
Freaky. Yeah. So.
I mean, she's only done a few Halloween films, 7. Yeah. So Amityville Horror was kind of like, and then that kind of told you, I am not a horror fan. And you'd be surprised, we hear in the 125 plus interviews we've done, the majority of people who have been in horror films aren't even horror fans. When we do get one, it's almost like, whoa, like it's not as common as you would think.
No, it's like a unicorn.
Yeah. So, but before we talk about making Haunted Mansion, I got to ask you about what you had started to bring up, because your very first TV role in the 1992 after-school series Life Stories, Families in Crisis won you a Daytime Emmy, which is incredible. How did it feel to win this award in your very first appearance in TV? Because I've got to assume that kind of like solidified you knowing that acting is what you were meant to do.
Yeah, it was my very first on-camera job. I looked really young back then. I had to play a teenager, but I was actually older. I think I was 25 playing 17. And I remember at the audition, they were like, "Are you 18?" Because I was like, "Yes, I am. I can work a full day." So clearly, they didn't really read that I have a master's. 17-year-olds usually don't have a master's degree. But I got hired, and I loved the director, Juan Campanella, who later won an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film, and they HBO actually paid for my SAG card at the time, which was a big deal. I I found out I was nominated. The awards was in Los Angeles, and I didn't have any money to go. And it was before the day that HBO really started paying for those things. And I was like, oh, well, I can't afford to go there, so whatever. But I found out I won by I picked up a Hollywood Reporter before going into an audition. And I was in the waiting room, and I opened up the Hollywood Reporter, and I read my name as winner. And I was like, oh. And I thought I was hallucinating. And so I read it again. I was like, oh. and no one had told me that morning. It was like an early morning audition. And so I found out just by reading about it. Of course, I got a lot of phone calls later in the day, but I was like, just had a private moment in the waiting room on the folding chairs of an audition.
Did you stand up and say, you guys can all go home?
Did you go into that audition and say, Daytime Emmy Award winner coming through?
Yeah, no, I did not, but I was just, I'm sure my audition was terrible because I was just in shock. I was like, oh, just, it's always nice to get recognized, especially for your very first thing.
Yeah.
And then that was a good month. Later in that month, I won something called a Theater World Award, which is a New York award for like a newcomer, and voted on by different critics and stuff for a play, my very first New York off-Broadway play, which is a play called Five Women Wearing the Same Dress, which was written by Alan Ball, who would later win an Academy Award for American Beauty, and he cast me in 6 Feet Under, also on HBO, and I did True Blood, which I feel like you guys you loved. But yeah, so it was, I won that in the same month, and I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to work out.
That is so awesome, and such a great, it must have been like an ego boost and confidence boost. I mean, you hear about these people who've gone their entire career, I want to say Bold and the Beautiful people, I know, maybe haven't gotten recognized.
I think Brooke has been on the show for 38 years and has never won an acting award.
Oh.
Well, did Susan Lucci ever win before she left? And she's an icon.
Yeah, she won one. Yeah, but it took like
30 years.
Yeah,
or something.
it took a lot. Like, what did they say? The Susan Lucci streak is over.
Yeah, the curse or something. Yeah. And you mentioned this, since we're a horror show, I saw that in 2001 you appeared as Tracy Montrose Blair during the first season of 6 Feet Under, which isn't quite horror, but it definitely got dark at times. What was this experience like for you? Like, any fun stories from working with the cast, especially Dexter himself, Michael C. Hall?
And Michael's great. Well, the big thing is I originally auditioned for the part of Rachel, the love interest to the other brother. I can't remember.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And Alan was like, I think I'm going to go a different way, but can you just do this guest spot just in the pilot as a favor? And I was like, yeah, sure. And there was a moment when I was doing it. I was only supposed to be in one episode, and then I was supposed to kind of improv talking while he's listening to something else, voiceover, and I just had a really good improv that day, and then he loved it so much, and the producer loved it. He was like, okay, we're bringing you back. So they wrote this incredible storyline that was through the entire first season and culminated with my aunt dying and me planning a funeral and being a very difficult customer. But it was so lovely. Alan is such a great writer. He really threads the needle of darkness and then making it funny somehow. And that dark comedy, which I love to play anyway. I like to find the humor in the darkness and then the darkness in the humor.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's a
and
good
you
one.
did such a good job. And you have a cute ponytail. And of all the TV shows, and you've done television, movies, Broadway, which one was the most fun for you or memorable, and why?
I really enjoyed a show called Greg the Bunny. It was with Eugene Levy and Sarah Silverman and Seth Green and myself and a bunch of puppets. And of course, these guys, Sarah and Eugene are just, master comedians. But the puppeteers are so genius. And the all the sets were built 5 feet off the ground, and so you had to kind of walk upstairs to be up here, and then the puppeteers would be under the stage and just have their hand and the puppets out. But they're such pros that when they would talk to you just off camera, the mouth would keep going on the puppet. So it was, if you were just walking by, you were like, what's happening? I mean, these guys are just so creative, and it was really fun. I think it was before its time. It didn't quite click. It was before the musical Avenue Q.
Yes,
and it was,
I've seen that. Yeah.
I just think people weren't quite ready for a subversive, dark comedy about a children's show. Yeah.
Well, I think today I could
my
see,
gosh.
let's get a Greg the Bunny reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think, well, I'm too old now, but
That's not true.
That is not true. Okay, moving on to the Haunted Mansion 2003. Now, how did you first get involved with this film, and what was the audition process like for Emma the maid?
yeah, it was fairly easy audition process. I had just done Freaky Friday with my husband, Mark Waters, and so I knew the casting there, Donna Morong and Marsha Ross. They're big casting for Disney, and was on their radar. And I just did an audition, had a lot of fun with it. Didn't hear anything, and they actually hired someone else to do Emma the maid, but there was something happened and she was not able to do it. So they went back to the drawing board and then said, would you just have a meeting with Rob Minkoff, the director? And I did. I went out to the studios, which were in Glendale, the soundstage. And we had a really good meeting, and he showed me around. I was like, this is great. And we just got along really well. And then I just got the offer later that day. I was like, okay. So It was fairly easy. Yeah. But I did, when I went in for my special effects makeup with Rick Baker, I saw the picture of the girl who was originally cast, and I know her.
Oh, are you allowed to say, or is that?
I don't want to say.
Julia Roberts. Okay.
Who's Julia Roberts? No.
And were you familiar with the ride at Disneyland?
Oh yeah, I love the ride. I love Disney. I love the. I just went this week. I literally just got back yesterday from Disneyland.
We're like, hey, that was me. No, when the maid in the ballroom scene. Do they still have your character in there?
It was closed for. They were decorating for Halloween, so I wanted to go on to see if my character was still there, but they were shut down for temporarily.
And this is just a side note for anyone that watches Housewives. Rob Minkoff, the director's wife, is Crystal Minkoff. She was a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's no longer on the show, but I just thought that was a fun connection.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and also the friend of is Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Who played Madame Leona in the original. So it's a lot of housewife connections, and I have my own housewife connections myself, Tim.
Yeah. She does.
No, I know. I've heard. Well, I just want to say, you played this character so well. Like, your facial expressions were everything. Like, every time we were watching this, like, you could just look at your reactions to things, even if you were in the background, and it would just make us laugh. Like, but you were also, what I loved is you were also a very compassionate character, because you were literally one of the only ghosts, I think, in the house who truly cared about the Evers family. So I wanted to know, what was your inspiration for how you played Emma? Because I'm assuming there wasn't like a ton to pull from the ride.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of being trapped and feeling for this family, and both of the kids were so sweet, and I just really enjoyed working with them just off screen. Even and Mark John Jeffries played the son, and he's such a lovely kid, and I don't know. I think I just tried to relate to them and helping them, stay together as a family unit. I don't know.
I mean, well, you did great. And it was very, very memorable. And one of my favorite moments in the film is when you and Wallace Shawn, who, by the way, listeners, if you aren't familiar with that name, he played Mr. Hall in Clueless. You will definitely remember that. And Wallace plays Ezra, another servant in the mansion, and you're both driving that ghostly chariot, and then you both get decapitated, but it's okay because you're ghosts, it's all in good fun. So how did they film that scene and do that effect?
Yeah. Well, before we started filming at all, we were in costume and full hair and makeup, and in this kind of mobile uh, off the studio lot, and there was like a scan, uh, a digital scan of your entire body and different movements and whatever, and then they can kind of just manipulate the image and really anything you wanted. It was before the big AI stuff that they do now, but it was it was pretty cool back then. No, we did have a big carriage on the set, and we were faking going, but then they could just do it digitally, whatever they wanted with the decapitation and whatnot.
So they didn't have to have you react to your head being taken off, or did they?
Yeah. There was like wind machines, and there's it's just kind of running direction of like, okay, now your head goes back. Okay, now.
Okay, react. Your head got chopped off. Go.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like in the big ballroom scene too. It's like, okay, now the Furies from hell are coming out, and you're like, ah. They're like, they're everywhere, and they're like, ah.
And it's like just like a fan or something.
And you mentioned working with Rick Baker, Academy Award winner Rick Baker. What was he like?
He's phenomenal. He's won so many awards. He's the best in his field. He's won 7 Academy Awards. He's did Ed Wood and Nutty Professor, and he was great. He created this mask, like a latex mask that I had to kind of sit still for quite a long time. When they cover your entire head, they plastic wrap your hair, but they put like a gel, some sort of gel thing, and then a plaster, and two little straws coming out of your nose so you can breathe, and you have to kind of sit still for quite a long time. And I would decide to zen it out, because it's like, if you're claustrophobic and you can't see and you can't really hear, and your nose and mouth is completely covered, it was cool. But through that, they were able to make a bust of my head and kind of do different makeup stuff, and create the look of the ghost. And yeah, he's amazing. Plus, he wanted all of the dead bodies to have a specific way they died, so they were still in the whatever they wore at the time of their death. But even with the zombies, he created all the zombies, and I mean, he's really great. And the weird thing is, years later, I ran into him in line to go to the Haunted Mansion.
No way!
What are the odds?
10 years later, and I was like, Rick, do you remember me? And he's like, oh, Dina. And I was like, yeah, I played Emma. And he was like, oh my God, we have to get a picture. But
God.
He's a cool guy. Yeah.
Wait, so did you guys discuss how Emma died? Because I don't remember. I don't think that was said in the movie. I mean, obviously she was dead, but did you guys have a story for that, or?
There was a story. I cannot remember, to be honest, but yeah, we did a lot of collaborating and creating backstory. Yeah.
I love that. And just again, listeners, if you're not familiar with Rick Baker, the name, even though he's done tons of special effects and makeups for movies, he is the reason. Well, he won the very first Academy Award for makeup for An American Werewolf in London, which is incredible. We actually just reviewed that movie on our Patreon, and that's just such a cool thing, because not just, anytime horror wins an Academy Award, we're excited.
1981, and it still holds up today. Like, there's no, I mean, obviously there's editing, but it's like the camera's like right there.
Yeah, the transformation scene that he does in that movie was like groundbreaking. So he's amazing. Love that you got a chance to work with him. So rather than asking you about working with all of your Haunted Mansion co-stars, we're going to play a little game, Dina, where we ask you some simple questions. Don't worry, not trivia or anything. Every time we do this game, everybody freaks out. We would never do that. No trivia. You just have to answer with the name of one of these 4 stars of the film. It's purely opinion-based stuff. Either Eddie Murphy, Jennifer Tilly, Wallace Shawn, or Terrence Stamp? So one of those four, whoever fits the question best. Among these four stars of Haunted Mansion, who was the biggest jokester on set?
I would say probably Terrence Stamp. He was always cracking jokes in the hair and makeup. Yeah. He even though he plays like a very stern guy, he has a great he had RIP, sorry.
Yeah.
He had a great sense of humor. So I would say no, there were no practical jokers, but he was probably the lightest in terms of making jokes backstage. Yeah.
I love hearing that because he is the most serious character of them. Yeah.
And who was the most reserved?
Probably Wally Shawn.
Really? Oh, I love that it goes by Wally. He looks like a Wally. No, I like that. Yeah, no. Who had the strongest opinions about how they wanted to play their character?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't do any scenes with Jennifer Tilly in person. She was always just a ball we were carrying around. But I think she came up with such a strong character in that as Madame Leota. She probably did. I'm guessing that she had more of a idea of what she wanted to do.
Who improvised the most lines?
Oh, Eddie's a good improviser. Yeah, he's one of the best. So
I had a feeling that Eddie Murphy would be the improviser. Okay, who did you hang out with the most after shooting? Like during production?
My baby. I had just had a baby, so like she was in my my trailer almost every day, and then the nanny would take her home before dinner time, and I do remember being invited to a stand-up show of the kid who plays the boy, Mark John Jeffries. He was doing a stand-up, I think at like the Comedy Store, like a big venue, and he invited all of us. And I remember I was like, oh, I would love to go, but I gotta go home to my baby. And but he did a set, and I heard that Eddie Murphy showed up.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was so cool of, him to do that, just to show up for his set in the back of the comedy club. So that was really cool. So at that time when I was a mother of young children, I couldn't really go out or do anything, but it was nice to see everybody.
Yeah. And after the movie wrapped, who did you keep in contact with?
The most?
Well, I ended up doing another thing with Jennifer Tilly called The Gun. And that was with Robert Altman directed. And so we worked together again. It was a short-lived series about following a gun from person to person. And so it was good to work with her again. She's a firecracker. She's so funny.
Were you guys like, hey, Haunted Mansion?
Yeah, well, I mean, we met up again at the premiere, but she did all of her stuff, I think, on a green screen. We didn't actually be in the same room until I think the premiere, because the globe or the crystal ball that we were carrying around was just empty and filled in later.
That's funny. So you're just talking to no one, but like, yeah. Okay. So before we move on to comparing your Haunted Mansion and the 2023 film, I wanted to ask you the final question that we ask all of our guests at the end of our interviews, and it kind of puts you on the spot. But what is one thing that you can tell us about your experience working on the Haunted Mansion, or maybe just your life at that time, that you've never told any other interviewer, publication, podcaster, just anything about your experience working on Haunted Mansion or during that time? And it can be just a tiny detail.
Not like housewife scandal.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be salacious unless you want it to be. But
tell us, like, you know what? One day they brought us chicken and we all got sick. Like,
anything about your experience on Haunted Mansion that you've never talked about or told before.
The house is really haunted.
No, it was beautiful. Oh my gosh. I have a fond memory. I feel like you guys want something more salacious, but my fond memory is Rob on Fridays would have karaoke on the set. And we would have kind of like a little cast crew get together for anybody who was working on Fridays. And I believe I remember Rob singing karaoke. I can't remember what it was, but it was such a lovely, thing to do with your cast and crew to just have some drinks and some karaoke at the end of a long week. And it was really sweet. It was just a really sweet set. I mean, which you can probably tell it's very, family friendly.
I love actually that's exactly the type of detail I love getting, because it's something that, like, nobody would just randomly tell in an interview, but it gives you kind of a sense of what things were like. So we love that. It doesn't always have to be. I mean, we have had people talk about having affairs during movies,
right, and that always shocks me.
That always shocks us that they're willing to tell us. But hey, I love that. I love karaoke. Did you ever sing?
I probably did. Yeah. I do want to say that throughout my career, there's been, some uncomfortable situations, but looking back on Haunted Mansion, I just want to say Rob Minkoff is the greatest. I almost wanted to email him when the whole Me Too thing, just to say thank you for being really nice and never creepy. Never being weird or creepy. You're just like a great guy, So yeah.
And what are you up to today? Can you tell us about anything?
Any new projects that you can tell us about?
Well, yeah, I just finished a movie with my husband. It's called Hershey. It's it's a biopic based on Milton Hershey, and it's a period piece, which I love. It's set in 1880s to 1917, I think, and it'll be coming out next year. It's a very sweet rags to riches story and inspirational, and I hope it will delight people. And so we're looking forward to that. I'm shooting a small series that I'm created, and we just shot an episode of that yesterday in Glendale. And I wanted to wait till my kids were grown, but now that my youngest one is in college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make my comeback. So here we are, guys.
That's awesome. And when you say Hershey, this is like Hershey chocolate Hershey, like the story of him.
Hershey Kiss. Yeah.
Hershey,
Hershey Kiss. It's also, he created a town called Hershey, Pennsylvania, and where all of his workers live, and he created a community, and he created an orphanage, which became the Hershey Milton School, Milton Hershey School. And at first it was for orphans, but now it's just for children in need, and it's incredible. It's an incredible story that he had the vision of helping all of these children and making society better and stopping the cycle of poverty. And Mark and I went to the school. We met several of the kids who are graduating and had lunch in our cafeteria, and it is incredible. They are the most beautiful kids, and the school actually has an endowment, I think $9 billion, so it will continue forever, and it actually owns the Hershey Chocolate Company.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool, uplifting story that I never knew about.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I'm very lucky. I got to see it. Dina did fantastic. It's a really good movie because you forget just what life was without a cell phone in your hand. So for me, I really loved it. I thought you and Mark did a great job.
And back then there was life without a car and without, and without tons of stuff. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Well, we can't wait to see it. That's awesome, Dina. I guess so. Kind of shifting gears now in this episode, we all watched. 20 years after Haunted Mansion 2003, the movie that Dina starred in, they did another Haunted Mansion film. And actually, before we even jump into that, I wanted to get how did you first hear that they were doing another film, and what was your reaction? Like, were you like, why are they doing this? Or are they going to continue the 2003 storyline? Or how did you even hear about this new film?
Oh, I just read about it in the trade papers. Yeah. I was curious what the take was going to be. They do a lot of remakes of things. just like with Mark's movie Freaky Friday, they just did a remake of Freaker Friday.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to see what the fresh take is, you know.
Yeah, and I wanted to get your guys' overall thoughts, both of you, on the two films and how they differ, because they are very different, even though they're both based on the same source material. The 2003 film is very much like family oriented. The Evers family, they come to the mansion because he thinks he's going to sell it. And then there's the whole story with Edward Gracie thinking Sarah Evers is his dead wife, Elizabeth, and the whole mystery of her death. But the 2023 film, it's kind of more like an ensemble piece. Like there's a whole group of characters that are all stuck in the mansion, like forced to stay there until they're able to like identify and banish that famous Hatbox ghost. So it's very, very different films. What were your guys' thoughts on just how they differed?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. I think the 2003 version is a little more family friendly. It's geared toward the younger audience, probably. Single protagonist. I thought it was charming. I think there were problems at the. It was essentially the villain was kind of a racist butler. I mean, I don't know if that really plays today, but the overall feel is kind of light and charming. And the 2023 version was interesting, but it was definitely a more somber mystery. Explored a lot of grief and mourning and that whole realm. So I think there's good things about both, and I think there are problems with both.
How about you, Tim? What are your reactions?
Well, I mean, I'm very much in the camp of like, I like Dina's, not just because Dina was in it, but
good answer.
No, just because it's like it's a film that you could just push play and like the whole family can watch it. Whereas I feel like the newer one, there'd be a little more explaining to do. Like, okay, like what's who, and there was a lot of story in the new one. And whereas the first one is so just like, here it is, this is a haunted mansion, like he's a realtor, he wants, so for me, I like the simplicity of the original.
That's a good take, because that's kind of how I felt watching, even though the 2023 film kind of feels like a grander movie in terms of scale. It does explore so much that I almost was like, I remember I asked Tim, I was like, is this movie meant for kids? Because it didn't feel that way. Like I kind of felt like you said, the 2003 film was a little bit more aimed towards kids, which I would assume, going off a Disney property, it'd be like that. The 2023 film had a lot of adult themes, and you actually mentioned grief. Do you guys think that the theme of grief, was that too serious for a Haunted Mansion film?
I think it's too serious for a Disney Haunted Mansion film. When you go on the ride, you don't want to, feel grief. You want to just have fun on the ride and like, this is a crazy supernatural world. So for me, I agree. It's like for maybe a different Haunted Mansion, that exploration would be great. You guys would know those filmmakers more than I.
Well, I did have a big chuckle in the 2023 one when someone's, I can't remember what the question was, but Jamie Lee Curtis was in the ball and she said, well, how much will this cost? And she goes, $3. I don't know.
And they're like that. And Danny DeVito's like, that's highway robbery.
I learned that Danny DeVito is 80. So I love that he's still making films. Like, I mean, I don't want to be doing nothing when I'm 80.
No, that's great. I didn't know Danny. Wow, really?
Yeah.
So then this was only 2 years ago. So 78. Yeah. I mean, still seems like the normal Danny DeVito.
No, and
and he's still chewing the scenery in the best way.
Right? Yeah. I was just telling Matt, this is totally off the subject of everything, but I would just watch Throw Mama from the Train when I was under the weather. And Danny DeVito has this really sweet scene with Billy Crystal. Maybe because I was sick and under the weather. I totally cried. Anyway, side note.
Well, what's funny is, so going back to the grief thing, I agree, Dina, that like I was taken aback a little that a Disney Haunted Mansion film was so serious. With that said, oh, that's my phrase, right? Tim told me in our last episode, Dina, that I say "with that said" a lot, and I'm trying to to remove it from my vocabulary. So with that said, Tim, I think they dealt with it in a healthy way, but I almost didn't even want to see that in a Haunted Mansion film. Like you said, if this is a film just about a haunted mansion and people having died there and them grieving, sure, but it did seem a little weird in that respect. It did seem kind of heavy. I will say there were a lot of comical elements, though, both films, and I think that they at least were able to kind of round out the grief with like Tiffany Haddish's character as the medium and Danny DeVito, and I actually Tiffany Haddish was like my favorite part of the 2023 film, and it wasn't like you think Tiffany Haddish in other films, like kind of she has like a one-note style of doing comedy. She was very different in this one. She was kind of comedic but also compassionate.
She was like, "You guys can Venmo me." I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. Yeah.
I was also going to say, like, which film do you guys feel like was more reminiscent of the ride? Because what I noticed is like the 2003 film had kind of the changing pictures and I loved the harmonizing statues. The 2023 film, it had that extending wall from the beginning and it did have the Hatbox Ghost. So it kind of felt like they both picked different parts. But what did you guys think?
I haven't ridden the ride in a long time, and I know that I know that Dina was just at Disney, and she can be there for a long period of time. And I'm not saying I don't like children. I love children. I just don't want to be near them. But
I just can't stand them.
Do you know how many times Tim always says this? It's like, look, I really love children. I just hate children.
No, but as a moviegoer, I mean, I don't know. Dina and I both worked at movie theaters growing up. Did you work at a movie theater?
I didn't. I wish I did, but I didn't.
But as a child watching the Haunted Mansion, Dina's version, I feel like kids could watch that because I think it had a short running time. But the new 2023 one, as a kid, I don't know. I don't know much about children, but I don't know if they could sit there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It has a long running time.
Yeah. I mean, that's problematic for sure. I think whenever you create a show or story, it's like, who's your intended audience? And what do you want to make them feel? How do you want them to leave the theater? And there's an audience for both, but the filmmakers have different answers of who the intended audience is, for sure. Because running time is a perfect example of that.
And I think you said it perfectly. If it didn't have the name Disney on it, and it was just like about a big haunted house, I think it'd be different putting it out to the public.
Do you think both represented the ride well? Both versions of the film?
I think there's another version that would that could be made in the future that would incorporate all of it in a fun way. I think, like I said, I like them both, and they both have positives for me, but they both didn't quite nail it. I don't think. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that.
No. It's okay, because it's funny because I always think about like when you're using source material and it's just a ride. And then you have to craft an entire story based off of it. It must be so difficult because you want to appease people who love the ride and put elements in there, but you also probably want to create your own story. But I kind of agree that it's like both had elements of it, but neither one felt like when I get in the ride and I'm on those chairs that are moving around, they're like, ooh, and like neither one kind of felt like that fully, but they did have aspects. And again, the harmonizing statues is one of my favorite parts of the ride. Yeah. Now, one thing they both did, though, that is very, very iconic of the ride that neither one was going to not part with is Madame Leota. And I've got to ask, controversial question, which Madame Leota did you guys prefer, Jennifer Tilly or Jamie Lee Curtis? Tim, you go first.
Well, I did have a good chuckle with Jamie Lee Curtis, but I like Meg Tilly's voice.
Well, Meg Tilly wasn't in this movie.
Okay, that's her sister from Psycho 2. It's Jennifer.
It's the sister. Oh. Yeah, but you know what? I agree with you, Tim. I like Jennifer's voice, her whole persona. I was like, only she could play that. I don't know. I definitely prefer Jennifer Tilly. Yeah.
It's tough because Jamie Lee Curtis is like my everything because Halloween is my favorite movie since I was 11 years old. And, Laurie Strode, yes. with that said, there it is again. Jennifer Tilly did feel more like Madame Leota, as in a head in a ball that's kooky and weird. But I think Jamie Lee Curtis, because she got to be outside of the ball, we got to see scenes of her in those magnificent costumes. I think she did it well, and like she also is kind of kooky, so it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I was having flashbacks watching the movie of what was the one that she won an Oscar for? Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. Again, not my favorite movie. I said it.
I love that. Well, because Dina, you worked with Jamie Lee Curtis on Freaky Friday, right? What was she like to work with, like on set?
Fantastic. She's like one of the best. She's just full of energy, creativity. She's just a charming, lovely, inviting. She likes to share the scene. You know, sometimes the big stars, they want to be the star and not have any, of the guest stars share the stage, really. But she did. She's so generous and, lovely. I mean, she's one of the best. Like, she is what you think she is. She's terrific.
And she was talking about Halloween all the time, right?
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, not at all.
But did she bring yogurt to the set?
Those were during the days that she was doing
maybe
what was the yogurt called that she did the commercial?
Oh, I should know this.
Oh my god, the yogurt.
The Activia.
Oh,
yeah.
How do you forget that? Like, she did those commercials for so long.
With Catherine Kami and E.G. Meg.
Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so we talked about the 2023 film kind of being the theme of grief and getting over that. What did you guys think the theme of the 2003 film was? Because for me, it wasn't as much like a theme-based movie, but I did get the feeling of like the importance of family and not being married to your work. I mean, you were in the film. Did you get any overall themes from the 2003 movie?
Yeah, it's about keeping your family safe and prioritizing family over career and bonding as a result of having to work together and then it's mixed with a kind of a fairy tale love story, which is like romance and fantasy and so those were the main themes, I guess. It was definitely linear. And Rob really wanted it to be refined. He wanted it to be elegant, and he got a crew of wonderful designers and production designers and costume designer, and who were just really great to work with as well. I don't know if I answered your question at all.
No, you answered it completely. Actually, you expanded on it, which is the best answer an interviewer can hope for. So,
people always ask Matt, like, what's our biggest fear? And my biggest fear is spiders. Were those real tarantulas on that set?
There were some. Yeah, there was a spider wrangler. Yeah.
Wow.
What a great job.
The village. Yeah. They were like the amount of people working on a film like this. It's incredible collaboration on just a grand scale. There was, sculptors who were making all that sculpting. There's designers, there's dancers and the choreographers. And then there was a dialect coach. And then there's cobweb crews who created the cobwebs, which is an art form all in itself. And and then there's stunt people and zombies, and it takes a village.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. So I wanted to get everyone's favorite scenes in both, because I can start, because in the 2003 film, my favorite scene was the mausoleum scene with Eddie Murphy and his daughter, just because it's kind of like action-packed, it's spooky, but it's not too scary. But they have this big scene where him and the daughter have to escape all the undead. And I actually really loved the daughter. I looked her up, Reed Davis, who plays his daughter, and but they have to escape the zombies and get this key, and it was very spooky, but in like a Disney sort of way. My favorite scenes in the 2023 film were all the seances that were done by Tiffany Haddish, just because I really enjoyed her character, because it was like, is she a fraud? Is she not a fraud? But she kind of is, but she does sort of have powers. She played Harriet, and again, like I said before, she kind of had this way of being both funny but also kind of heartfelt throughout the film. So those were my favorite scenes in both. Any Tim, you want to go?
Oh, sure. I think my favorite scene was when the daughter dropped the key. I think it's your same scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like the same scene. And any scene Dina was in, of course. Yes. And I guess the 2023, I liked when Owen Wilson revealed he wasn't a priest. I was like, that's kind of a good twist. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't either, actually. Yeah.
I just gave it away. Spoiler.
Oh my God. Ruined the movie. How about you, Dina?
In the 2023, I agree with you with the seance scenes. I just love those. I think Tiffany Haddish just perfectly nailed the tone, where it's scary but heartfelt but funny. I like she was like perfect to me. So I liked any scene she was in, because I like combining that emotional element into it as well. In terms of the first one, I personally had a lot of fun acting in the last scene where there's like crazy ghosts or the people from the energy from hell coming and swirling. And so running around that stage, screaming my head off. And Rob was so funny. He was like, yeah, can you just get bigger? And I've never had a director say that to me. I usually get the note, can you calm it down?
Can you rein it in?
And then he was the only director I've ever worked with who's like, can you bring it up? And I was like, yes, I can. So I don't know if you saw it all in that scene, but I had the most fun doing that and just letting loose. It was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like fun.
It did look like fun, and it was a great ending scene. And, speaking of another scene in the 2003 film that actually may have been my favorite if it hadn't been cut, was the deleted scene that Tim and I watched on the DVD that was your scene with Wallace Shawn. You guys are talking with the kids and providing this great background on like the whole mystery about Elizabeth. Like, you guys are talking about being ghosts, you're flying around, and then you kind of explain a little more about Elizabeth. And I'm wondering, do you have any idea as to why that was cut? Because it felt like it had so much great background info in it.
I don't know why it was cut, but I don't even remember it. I'm so impressed that you guys watched the extras.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Of course. It said like deleted scene Emma, and we're like done watching it.
Yeah, we were like, but it's crazy because like the kids come down to Eddie Murphy and they say like, hey, these are ghosts. And we're like, oh, okay. But you just like the scene that was cut was you telling them like, hey, we're ghosts.
Yeah, like, so the backstory that would have, I guess, made it click a little more to people. But again, I don't know. Directors are thinking of timing and the running time and everything. But
yeah, it was probably just for running time. And yeah.
Because
I like a tight movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, but it's funny. It's like usually also on DVDs, there'll be like a ton of deleted scenes. Because if there's only one, you're kind of like, well, that's only a minute.
The scene that explains who these people are?
Yeah, I know. We were like, maybe cut like maybe 30 seconds of the zombies, not the scene where Emma's explaining the backstory. It was just a weird decision. But I love that scene just because I love when movies take the time to actually explain things. Like, I don't know. I'm lazy. I don't want to figure it out myself. So it's nice to have that. Question for you guys. In the 2023 film, Jared Leto played the Hatbox Ghost, but he kind of do we think he actually was acting there alongside people or just did a great scene?
His name was in the credits, and I'm assuming he was under the mask.
I was asking myself the same thing. Now, I have problems. Of course, Jared Leto's great, right? But did you really need Jared Leto if you didn't know it was him? And like I don't know. There's the other problem I have is just dramaturgy 101 is you don't introduce characters in the third act. And I felt like this was an introduction of a new character. And I was like, oh, this is the big villain. And I was kind of confused. I wish it had I don't know, been referenced earlier in the movie to kind of bring it all together. But the Hatbox Ghost could have really been anyone.
True. He could have just done a voiceover.
That's what
yeah. Yeah, I just feel like you could get a great voiceover actor and probably saved a lot of money.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how much he got paid, but
probably a ton. I was confused when Tim and I were watching this because, to prepare for this episode, we both hadn't seen the 2023 one, and I'm looking through the credits, and I remember that Jamie Lee Curtis was it, and Tiffany Haddish and Rosario Dawson, but I was like, Jared Leto? That's a name I wasn't expecting to see, and then they don't use him.
Yeah, I was like, where's his face? But a nice surprise was Winona Ryder.
Yes, what did you guys think of the cameo from Winona Ryder? She's uncredited. Like, did she know the filmmaker?
I had no clue.
I don't know either. It did seem like she was a little like wasted. She could have had a kind of more of a part or something. Also, Mary Lou Henner. Did you see that?
Yes.
I was like, what's happening? There's so many cameos. I'm confused. Like, if you're not going to really use them in I don't know, in a comedic way, it just seems like we're padding the cast,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see Mary Lou Henner.
It's so funny, Dina, you say that because Tim totally called her out too. He's like, hey, that's Mary Lou Henner. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So a little history on the Hatbox Ghost. I looked this up, everybody, because I was wondering, like, okay, how integral is this to the Haunted Mansion? Because it wasn't in the 2003 film at all, but it's like the main villain in the 2023 film. So apparently it was in the original Haunted Mansion ride in 1969 and right when it opened. And then right away, the animatronic didn't work correctly. And they left it in there until 1983 when they decided to remove it completely. And it was completely out of the Haunted Mansion until 2015 when they brought back the Hatbox Ghost animatronic into the ride. And so now I'm like, oh, no wonder it wasn't in the 2003 movie, because this was just something that, 20 years it had been in the ride. They suddenly bring it back in 2015, and now it's like the star villain of the new movie.
But like Dina said, he wasn't in the movie till like almost the end.
Yeah, but thanks for doing that research, Matt. I mean, now you've solved the mystery of who is this Hatbox Ghost. Like, I didn't know any of that backstory.
I usually don't do that. Well, actually, that's not true. I do a lot of research. I do a ton of research for these. What am I saying? What I was saying, though, like on that specific detail, I was just really like, this is so important to the 2023 film and completely ignored in 2003. Like, what's the story with this Hatbox Ghost? And then I found it because everyone knows that face, but I never even thought. I
did recognize that face, but I couldn't figure out from where.
Yeah. So it is crazy that like that just changed the entire. Suddenly they had a villain for the movie, versus in your movie it was the scheming butler, and but it's just so funny how you can take this one character and create an entire story based on it.
Yeah.
And throw in some grief here and there.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
I have to ask Dina this. Dina, what a bummer. You go to Disney and the Haunted Mansion is closed.
I know. I wanted to actually see it before I met with you guys because I wanted to see how it holds up and,
Oh, I would have been like, I was in this movie.
Yeah, excuse me, coming through. Emma from Haunted Mansion. Yeah. Okay, so then to close things out, what if they ever did a new Haunted Mansion movie, what would you guys like to see from it?
Emma.
I mean, other than bringing Emma in and making her the focal character and getting Dina Spybey-Waters to reprise the role, what would you like to see from a new Haunted Mansion movie?
I'll tell you something I don't want to see, and this is a little bit of a diss with the 23. I don't want it to be so filled with grief. I want to have a good time. There was also, I don't know if you guys noticed this as much as I do, but there was a lot of product placement of advertising of burger. Oh, here's my Burger King bag, or I just got this at Costco.
Yes, I did remember that.
I guess I was so oblivious.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like, Danny DeVito's 80 years old. What?
I couldn't get past it.
Yeah, no, but I like a linear story. It could go a little scarier, maybe jump scares a little more at the height of the film. But then I would like more heart of whatever the emotional through line is. But the fun of the ride, and this is what I would love, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking while watching it, like, I was thinking
What?
a lot. I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be if it was like the actual ride, like kids got stuck on the ride?
And it was really haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, because then it's like kids watching kids. Like, I was thinking it because the first one, yes, was aimed towards children. So I would think kids would want to see kids on the ride being stuck and haunted.
So that's very meta of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, the first one had 2 kids. The second one had 1 kid. I'd love to have maybe a family with 3 kids of different ages. So them experiencing the ride in different ways, like an actual surly teen getting stuck in this house versus like a 10-year-old who's maybe scared more. I don't know. But having that just like, I don't know. I want 3 kids.
No, I love all these.
That's a good idea.
I agree with everything you guys said. It sounds like I'm just like just to agree, but I truly do, because I think you said it in the word fun. That's what I kind of always get from the ride, that not that it was missing from the movies, but it wasn't as fun as I was expecting a Disney ride-based movie to be. Lots of story in both, lots of issues, really seriousness, but yeah, I think if you're going to call it Disney's Haunted Mansion, we got to really get the audience of people who love that ride, who want to have fun. So it's like fun with ghosts. I'm trying to think if there's a movie out, almost like a Goosebumps or what is like a series or a movie where you have fun with spooky stuff. Why am I blanking on this?
I feel like growing up, there was like specials on TV that were like an hour that were really like Halloween focused. But for some reason, the translation from like a hour special to a big screen feature is just, it seems tougher to do. But I think just keep it simple, which I actually said right when we started this. But like the simplicity of, you know, haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's funny because I think about at the time, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was being shot at the same time. And they really locked into the like sexy pirate, you know, Johnny Depp is and there was kind of that kind of cool, sexy vibe element added to it. And I don't know if there's anything you could do with a sexy ghost or whatever.
It's so funny you mentioned
crazy,
sexy pirate. Do you think of Luann?
To who?
Do you think of Luann?
Luann, Real Housewives of New York, Matt.
Yeah. There's a sexy pirate.
I knew this had to be a Real Housewives reference, because I'm like, okay, first off, that sounds like a housewife's name, Luann.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be, it's funny that they don't, and I'm trying to think of the ride, and I see now I'm getting confused with Pirates of the Caribbean, because I remember in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, remember when there's the guys chasing the girls, and then the last one is the girl chasing the guy, and then I think they shifted that to be more
they took it out because it was like, this isn't politically correct.
Yeah.
They switched that all up.
I'm wondering if have there been changes to the Haunted Mansion ride to make it more politically correct?
Controversy.
I don't know. I mean, there's like the bride who keeps killing her husbands, right? The in the early part of it. I wish I had been on the ride. I could give the answer. Yeah.
No, that's not, I love that you even tried to, especially in preparation for this, because I will say it has been a number of years since I have been at Disneyland, not for the same reasons of Tim. I love kids, but it's more that when I want to go to amusement park, I just love roller coasters. So obviously, Disneyland is where we'll go with my nephew and love it. But me personally, I'm not yes, I got to go to Disney. I went so much growing up.
I have to ask this completely off the subject of all mansions and hauntedness. Dina, did you ride the Raiders of the Lost Ark ride?
Yeah, I love it.
That's the best. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's about as scary as I can go. I can't do the roller coasters that go upside down. I can't do that at all. But I like that. I like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Space Mountain.
I cannot do Space Mountain. No.
Oh, that's my favorite.
That's a full-blown roller coaster.
Space Mountain is a roller coaster, but it's like, I love it even to this day. And also, didn't they recently completely revamp Splash Mountain? Like, it's not the same?
Yeah, it's now Tiana, and it's wonderful. We did ride that. It's so delightful. They did a great reimagining of that ride, and it's so fun, and it's still scary because you're going down a huge splash.
It's a drop.
But it's they did a great job with the revamping that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fun.
Well, now this is kind of like getting me in the spirit to maybe want to
go
to Disneyland.
Convince me.
Well, because it's like they have made so many movies based off of these properties. I'm sure there's going to be more. I'm sure in 20 years maybe there will be another Haunted Mansion iteration. Dina, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our show to have in this format of like interview/discussion. We really appreciate it. It's long overdue and really grateful for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always fun to hang out with you guys. And time, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Well, we will definitely.
Thank you, Dina.
Yes, we will be in touch. Thank you again, and have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Happy Horror Time.
If you'd like to support the podcast, please sign up to be a patron at www.patreon.com/happyhorrortime. As a patron, you get access to all our bonus content, which now includes 2 new bonus episodes every month, a monthly after-show mini episode, access to our Discord community so you can chat with us directly, and the chance to review a film with us in one of our bonus episodes.
Patrons also get all our regular episodes ad-free and a day early, our monthly newsletter, the chance to vote in polls, and autographed Happy Horror Time stickers.
I'm Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch.
And we hope you have a happy horror time.